Well, hello from a rather grey and overcast Cardiff Bay. Well, I'm back in Wales, as you can tell by the grey weather and the rain starting. I'm in Cardiff Bay, as I mentioned, but I'm not actually in Cardiff. I'm across the bay in Penarth, by Penarth Marina, and that's in the Vale of Glamorgan. But come with me as I take a walk across Cardiff Bay Barrage into Cardiff and Mermaid Quay. And on the way, we'll have a look at some of the old buildings and we'll talk about some of the history of the place. But before we cross the barrage itself, let's have a quick look around Penarth Marina. Well, Penarth Docks opened in 1865 as a rival to Cardiff Docks just across the bay. By 1913, Penarth Docks were exporting 5 million tonnes of coal a year. But by the 1930s, that 5 million tonnes of coal had dropped to about 600,000 tonnes of coal. And by about 1936, I think, the exports of coal stopped completely. But some of that dock still remained. And it's in 1987, it became Penarth Marina. Some of those grand old dock buildings still remain. Let's take a look at a couple before we cross the barrage itself. That's the old Penarth Docks Custom House, built in 1865, and you can see it's in pretty good condition. I think it's a restaurant bar now, but the building next door, the marine building there, that's been derelict for 30 years. So as I mentioned earlier, this side isn't in Cardiff, it's part of Penarth, and we're crossing over, and this is where we leave Penarth and the Vale of Glamorgan and start the crossover into Cardiff. So as we cross the barrage, in front of you, you can see the three big lock gates, the entrance to Cardiff Bay. So these gates are the main entrance, three of them, for the ships and boats to get into Cardiff Bay. And over here are the 5 sluice gates, which are used to regulate the level of water in Cardiff Bay. Just behind the barrage control room is quite an interesting little building. Just over there you can see the port of Cardiff, because Cardiff still is a working dock. What's this? Is there a glimmer of sunlight? In 1910, Captain Scott departed Cardiff Bay on the SS Terra Nova, his ill-fated attempt to reach the South Pole. So as you cross the Barrage, you come across the enormous crocodile, the Roald Dahl character. Roald Dahl was born in Cardiff in 1916, and ironically, he's named after Roald Amundsen, the explorer who beat Captain Scott to the South Pole. Well, when I was over in Penarth Marina, I did mention in 1913, Penarth Docks were exporting 5 million tonnes of coal a year, whereas Cardiff Docks were exporting 10.7 million tonnes a year. But like Penarth, by the 1930s, that figure had declined. Cardiff Docks mainly lost out to Barrage Docks, which wasn't affected by the tides. Anyway, that figure continued to decline, and its export of coal ceased in 1964. Just across this small dock used to be the Doctor Who experience. If you didn't know, Doctor Who and Torchwood were filmed in Cardiff. Anyway, more about Torchwood coming up later. You can see signs of the old docks everywhere. So over here are a pair of workmen's huts. There's one there, which is now a little chip shop. Don't think it's open. And there's one just over there. So this is the second of the two workmen's huts built in 1874 as part of the Roath Basin. So I'm now heading to the Norwegian Church. Cardiff, along with London and Liverpool, were the three biggest ports in the UK in the day, and they had lots of Norwegian sailors. Norway was the third largest merchant fleet in the world. Originally, it wasn't there. It was sited where the Wales Millennium Centre is now, but it was in disrepair, it was derelict. They moved it, restored it. I think it's now an art centre and a cafe, I think. Well, let's have a look at the Norwegian Church. I think Roald Dahl went there when it was in the original location. So this building, which is now a pub, is a neo-Tudor looking building, and it was the old HM Customs and Excise from 1870. They actually moved it back 50 metres when they built the new promenade here. So now I'm coming up to the Penarth building, the Welsh Parliament building, which was designed by Richard Rogers. Right, I'll make this clear. I don't want any ranting comments about the Welsh Parliament. Put those on somebody else's vlog. Just in front of the Penarth building, you'll find this. It's the Cardiff Merchant Seamen's War Memorial. Well, you can't miss that. The terracotta Pierhead Building, built in 1896 by William Frame. He was the assistant to William Burgess. And if you don't know who he was the one responsible for Castle Cork, the interior of Cardiff Castle. So it's in a very similar style. So that's the Pierhead Building in its distinctive terracotta colour, and behind it, that slate and bronze looking building, that's the Wales Millennium Centre, the concert hall. So just walked past the Pierhead Building and I'm in front of the Wales Millennium Centre, and this area is known as Roald Dahl Plass, named after Roald Dahl. It used to be, I think, the Butte West Dock Basin. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it used to be an old dock. You can see by the walls on the side. And just in front of the Wales Millennium Centre, if you're a fan of Torchwood, is a strange mirrored tower, which was the entrance to the secret underground lair. Well, John Barrowman didn't pop up, which is the stories I've heard. It's quite a good thing, really. You can see the old harbour walls here. But anyway, when I was in Roald Dahl Plass, I mentioned Torchwood. I was filmed here. But over here is another memorial from Torchwood, Ianto Shrine. Obviously, if you've never watched Torchwood, it means nothing to you. Let's take a look at that. So that statue there is called People Like Us, and it represents the people that worked and lived in this area of Cardiff Bay. It used to be called Tiger Bay, and we all know the most famous person from Tiger Bay, don't we? That's right, Shirley Bassey. Well, that building there, which is now Wetherspoons, that used to be the offices for the Mount Stuart Dock Company. I think there's a little plaque on the wall around the corner. Well, this one's for locals. That building there on the corner, I think it used to be a notorious pub known as the Big Windsor. Am I correct? It was licensed in 1855. Let me know in the comments below. Here's another view of the Mount Stuart Ship Repairing Company docks at 3 dry docks. On the right you can see that red brick building was the powerhouse, and behind that is the new, say new, it's been there for 20 plus years now, St David's Hotel. I've now reached St David's Hotel, and what you can do is continue walking around the cycle path and footpath back to Penarth Marina that way. But I'm going to end my walk here. I hope you enjoyed my stroll over Cardiff Bay Barrage and a bit of the Cardiff Docks history. But it's not really the end. There's more videos coming up next, and I'll see you in one of those. Bye.